I was doom scrolling this morning, which I know is a terrible way to start the day, but I was just struck by how much of my feed is shortcuts.
Oh, yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
hack your dopamine or
Yeah.
the one secret stock tip, get six-pack abs in 4 minutes. We are seemingly obsessed with this idea that there's some secret backdoor to success we just haven't found yet.
It's the lottery ticket mentality. I mean, we are just wired to love the montage sequence in movies.
Totally. The hero's out of shape and broke.
Right. And then there's a 3-minute musical sequence and boom, suddenly they're the champion. But real life doesn't really have a fast forward button.
Sadly, no, it does not. And that brings us to the stack of notes we're diving into today. It's a really dense collection of reports, some research, book notes, all centered around the compounding effect.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, if you're looking for that magic bullet or that secret back door, this probably isn't the deep dive for you.
No. In fact, the source material pretty much tells you to stop looking for it. The core argument here is that the magic isn't some secret technique or, a hidden crypto coin. It's a fundamental law of physics that applies to your daily life. And honestly, it's kind of boring.
Well, that's the hook, isn't it? The secret is mundanity. So our mission for this deep dive is to figure out why two people can start at the exact same place, same job, same talent, same resources, and 3 years later, one is wealthy and fit, and the other is, broke and unhealthy.
And the answer, according to these notes, is usually invisible to the naked eye.
Completely.
It comes down to these tiny, seemingly insignificant choices. The source uses the snowball analogy right up front, and I just think it's the perfect visual.
The snowball.
A snowball rolling down a hill doesn't try to get big, doesn't stress about its size, it just rolls, and physics does the rest. It gathers mass.
And the scary part, but also the exciting part, is that this force is always running.
Always. Compounding is like gravity. It doesn't care if you're a good person or a bad person. It's always on in the background. It's either working for you, building your assets and health,
Or it's working against you.
crushing you under debt and bad habits.
Exactly. We're going to get to the crushing you part. The notes vividly call it the shit snowball, which is just delightful imagery a bit later. But I want to start with the math, because I think we intellectually understand consistency,
Yeah.
but we don't emotionally grasp the timeline. We want the result now.
That is the disconnect. We understand linear math. If I work an hour, I get paid for an hour. 1 + 1 is 2. But compounding is. It's exponential.
Yeah.
And the source breaks this down with a weight loss example that I think is brilliant just because the numbers are so incredibly small. It's not about running a marathon or starving yourself.
Right. The example focuses on a caloric deficit of just 125 calories a day.
Which is, it's negligible. That's leaving half a can of soda on the table. It's skipping the mayo on a sandwich.
It's not eating the handful of chips while you cook dinner.
Exactly. You wouldn't even feel that deprivation physically.
Okay, so let's play this out, because the timeline is where I always get tripped up. I cut 125 calories today. What happens?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay, I do for 2 weeks. So 14 days of saying no to the mayo.
Still nothing. You step on the scale, it wobbles, it gives you the same number. You look in the mirror, you look exactly the same. You might even feel a little annoyed you're missing out on the mayo.
And this is the danger zone, right? This is the valley of disappointment.
That's it.
This is where I usually say, well, this isn't working. I have bad genetics. Pass me the cake.
That is the trap. The source emphasizes that for the first phase of compounding, the results are completely invisible. The example in the text tracks this over 31 months.
31 months. That is roughly 940 days.
Yeah.
That is a massive amount of time to wait for a payoff.
It is. But look at the math. 940 days times 125 calories saved per day equals 117,500 calories.
When you say it like that, the number sounds huge. But it's still hard to visualize what 117,000 calories looks like on a human body.
Well, the standard conversion is roughly 3,500 calories to a pound of fat. So if you do the division 117,500 divided by 3,500, you get 33.5 pounds.
33 pounds. That's a toddler.
It is. It's a massive transformation.
A different person.
Different person. And the key is they didn't suffer. They didn't go to some boot camp. They just let the math work for nearly 3 years. But here's the kicker. Compare that to the person who added 125 calories a day.
Just a slightly bigger dessert.
Right. Lean gained 33 pounds. So the difference between those two people who started in the same place
Is now nearly 70 pounds.
and that gap opens up almost overnight at the end. That's the hockey stick curve.
Yeah.
In month 6, the difference between them is barely noticeable. In month 18, it's visible but not dramatic. By month 31, it's shocking. One looks athletic, the other is obese. And they both think, how did this happen?
The notes mention something here called the ripple effect, which explains why the results accelerate like that. Because it's not just the calories, is it? It's not just the math, it's the biology.
Correct. Your life doesn't happen in a vacuum. The ripple effect is this idea that one habit modifies your identity and your physiology, which then impacts your other habits.
So using the weight loss example, if I'm disciplined enough to cut that 125 calories, what else happens to me?
Well, just think about it. You didn't eat the heavy, greasy food late at night, so your blood sugar is more stable. You probably sleep a little bit better.
And because I slept better, I wake up feeling decent. I actually have some energy.
Exactly. And because you have energy, maybe you decide to take the stairs at work instead of the elevator. Or maybe you're more patient with your kids. You feel good about yourself, so you want to protect that feeling.
So that 125 calorie deficit starts to bleed into other areas. Suddenly I'm burning more calories just by being a bit more active.
Precisely. But the negative ripple is where people get really, really trapped. Let's say you eat the extra junk food. You get a massive insulin spike, followed by a crash. You feel lethargic and foggy.
So I skip the gym because I'm tired.
And because you skip the gym and you feel guilty, your cortisol spikes. You're stressed, so you stress eat more. The notes describe this as a feedback loop. One small error in judgment creates a physiological state that invites more errors.
It's interesting that the source lists this mechanism applying to everything. Finances, relationships, work. It's not just a health thing.
It's universal. I mean, in finances, it's the classic latte factor, but think about the ripple. If you overspend, you stress about bills. If you stress about bills, you perform poorly at work. If you perform poorly, you miss the promotion. It all just compounds.
I want to talk about momentum, because starting this stuff is the hardest part. The notes use a locomotive analogy that I really like because it explains why day one feels so impossible.
This is a great way to visualize activation energy. Think about a steam locomotive. It's massive, thousands of tons of steel just resting on a track. To get it moving from a dead stop takes an incredible amount of fuel and pressure.
Right, you're shoveling coal like a maniac, the steam is pouring out, and the wheels are barely turning.
You are fighting static friction. Inertia is your enemy. This is the first month of a new diet or the first month of a savings plan. It feels like maximum effort for zero movement.
And this is where most people quit. They think, is this going to be this hard forever?
But the physics change, don't they?
You do.
Once it's rolling, once you hit 60 or 70 miles per hour, momentum becomes your friend. You can throttle back the fuel and the train keeps going. At that speed, the train could smash through a reinforced concrete wall and barely even slow down.
So the takeaway here is don't stop the train.
Right. The energy cost to maintain momentum is a fraction of the cost to create it. The source warns that most people stop the train right when it's about to get easy.
They take a break, lose the habit.
And then they have to do all that heavy lifting all over again.
Speaking of heavy lifting and speed, there's another analogy in the text that felt like a direct attack on my work style. The tale of two planes.
Oh, this one.
I feel like this one is going to resonate with a lot of our listeners who are obsessed with hustle.
Oh, this one hits hard for the modern culture. We're just obsessed with intensity.
So paint the picture for us. We have plane A and plane B.
Okay, so plane A is a fighter jet. It's incredibly fast. Top speed is Mach 2. But the pilot has a terrible strategy. They fly at full speed, but they land at every single city between the departure and the destination.
So it's just burst of speed, land, refuel, burst of speed, land.
Then you have plane B. It's a slow, single-engine prop plane. It just chugs along at a boring speed. But it takes off, finds its heading, and it never lands until it reaches the destination.
And obviously, the slow plane wins.
By a massive margin. The fast plane represents intensity. We love intensity. We love the 30-day shred or the get-rich-quick sprint. But intensity is exhausting. It requires recovery, so we stop.
And every time we stop, we kill the compounding curve. We are the fighter jet sitting on the tarmac.
Exactly. The notes emphasize a key phrase. Consistency beats intensity. It is better to go at a pace you can sustain for 10 years than a pace that burns you out in 10 weeks. If you stop, you lose.
That's actually a relief to hear. Like, I don't have to be intense. I just have to be relentless. I just have to not land the plane.
Relentless forward motion, that's the key.
But I have to play devil's advocate here. What about luck? I mean, we all know people who aren't necessarily consistent, but they just, boom, they stumble into the right job. They buy a crypto coin right before it pops. They meet the perfect partner at a coffee shop. Is that compounding, or is that just the universe playing favorites?
It feels random. It feels unfair. But the source material actually offers a mathematical formula for luck.
I love that we're trying to quantify luck. Okay, let's break it down.
So the formula is preparation plus attitude plus opportunity plus action, luck.
Okay, let's take those one by one. Preparation.
This goes right back to what we were just discussing, personal growth. Are you building skills? Are you reading? Are you refining your craft? If you aren't preparing, you're basically invisible to luck. You haven't built the container to hold it when it arrives.
Okay, attitude.
The notes define this as your mindset. Are you looking for solutions of problems? This acts like a filter. If you have a cynical attitude, you might be staring at a lucky break, maybe a tough project at work that could get you noticed, but you'll just interpret it as a hassle. You won't see it as luck.
Then we have opportunity.
This is the variable we control the least, a good thing coming your way. But here's the argument the source makes. Opportunities are actually surprisingly common. They float by us constantly.
But without the prep and the attitude, they're invisible.
Exactly. You miss them. And finally, the most important variable, action. You have to do something. You can be prepared, positive, and staring at a golden ticket. But if you don't reach out and grab it, you aren't lucky. You're just a bystander.
So the argument is that luck is actually just the residue of compounding effort. It's when your preparation finally collides with a moment in time.
Precisely. It makes luck seem inevitable rather than accidental. If you stay on the slow plane long enough, you will eventually fly into good weather.
Okay, I'm sold on the concept. I want the snowball working for me. But practically, my days are chaos. I have kids, I have a boss, I have a dog that needs walking. How do I actually implement this without it falling apart by Tuesday?
Right.
The notes switch gears here into some specific tactics.
The primary strategy the source recommends is called bookending your days.
I like that visual, like books falling over without bookends.
That's exactly it. The reality is you cannot control the middle of your day. The middle is the whirlwind. Your boss will call an emergency, the kids will get sick, emails will explode. If you try to build your compounding habits in the middle of that whirlwind, you will fail.
So we focus on the edges, the parts we can actually control.
The morning and the evening. The source argues that your morning routine and your evening routine should be the ironclad structure that holds all that chaos together.
Why is this sameness so important? Why can't I just wake up and see how I feel?
It's decision fatigue. Every time you have to decide, should I work out or what should I eat for breakfast? You burn mental energy. If the first 30 minutes of your day are automatic, same wake up, same water, same reading, you enter the chaos with momentum.
You're already winning.
Exactly. You preserve your willpower for the hard stuff later.
And the evening bookend.
That's about closing the loop. The notes suggest 3 specific things: self-investment like reading a few pages, gratitude, and a review of the day.
That review part seems crucial. How did I do today?
It's the navigation check. If you're the pilot of the plane, you need to check your instruments. If you drift off course today, you catch it tonight. If you don't review, you might drift for 5 years before you realize you're lost.
Speaking of drifting off course, there is one piece of advice in the tactics section that made me laugh, but the logic is surprisingly sound. The shitty workout rule.
Yes, the rule is, if it's exercise and you're really not feeling it, do a shitty workout rather than zero workout.
Which goes against every no pain, no gain poster I've ever seen in a gym.
It does. But no pain, no gain is about intensity, or playing the game of consistency.
So how does a bad workout help me? I mean, if I just flop around on a yoga mat for 10 minutes, surely that does nothing.
Physiologically, maybe not much, but psychologically, it does everything. It preserves the identity loop. If you skip the workout, you cast a vote for the identity of someone who quits when they're tired. But if you go to the gym and just walk on the treadmill for 10 minutes while scrolling your phone, you showed up.
You kept the chain unbroken.
You greased the wheels of the locomotive. It's much easier to scale up a bad workout tomorrow than it is to restart a stopped habit.
That is genuinely freeing. I am giving everyone listening permission to go have a terrible workout today. Just don't skip it.
Just show up. That's 90% of the battle.
Okay, we've talked about the good snowball, but we need to circle back to the dark side. We promised we would talk about the shit snowball.
We have to, because momentum doesn't care if it's helping you or hurting you. It just amplifies behavior.
The notes say, if you have a shit snowball going and you keep the same practices in place, it will continue to get bigger.
Debt is the classic example. You ignore a small balance. Interest compounds, late fees compound, stress compounds. Suddenly, it's an avalanche.
And bad health works the same way.
A little neglect becomes a chronic issue.
Yeah. So how do we stop the avalanche? The source gives us a 5-step battle plan for killing bad habits. Let's walk through these.
Step 1 is identify the trigger. This is all about awareness. You don't just eat cookies. There's a specific sequence.
The who, what, where, and when.
Right. Do you eat them when you're bored, stressed, with a specific friend? If you don't know the trigger, you're fighting in the dark.
Step 2, clean house.
This is environment design. If you want to stop checking your phone in bed, buy an alarm clock and leave the phone in the kitchen.
Don't rely on willpower.
Exactly. If you want to stop eating sugar, throw it in the trash. Willpower is a battery that runs out. Environment is permanent.
Step 3 is swap it.
The substitution method. Nature abhors a vacuum. If you just rip out a bad habit, you're left with this hole in your life. You're sitting there thinking, I usually smoke right now. What do? You will likely fill it with the same bad habit. You need a placeholder.
So if I smoke when I'm stressed, I need something else to do when I'm stressed.
Exactly. Breathing exercises, chewing gum, playing with a fidget spinner, whatever it is, you need to redirect the energy, not just suppress it.
Then we have step 4, ease in, which is the slow approach.
Cutting down gradually.
With this step 5, the nuclear option.
Yeah.
Jump in.
Cold turkey.
How do we know which one to use? Because for me, easing in usually just means postponing quitting.
It depends on your personality, but the source offers a really interesting diagnostic tool here called the Vice Check.
I highlighted this. It feels a bit hardcore.
The challenge is pick one Vice X: coffee, alcohol, social media, sugar. Go clean for 30 days.
And if I can't?
That's the data. If you find yourself shaking or angry or bargaining, oh, just one won't hurt, I've had a hard day, then that substance is controlling you.
And the advice, if you fail the Vice Check,
consider dropping it entirely, not just for 30 days, forever. Because it's likely fueling your shit snowball. It's an anchor dragging behind your boat.
that is a harsh reality check. But I guess if you can't put it down, you aren't holding it, it's holding you.
Precisely. And to truly clear out these bad habits, we have to look at the bigger picture. The outro of the notes touches on environment in a broader sense. It says, watch your associates.
Disassociate from the things that are bad for you. This is the whole, you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with rule.
It sounds severe to cut people off, but think about that ripple effect we talked about. If your friends are constantly complaining, eating poorly, and spending money they don't have, they are the current pushing your swimmer downstream.
You might be paddling hard upstream.
Right, trying to build good habits, but the current will eventually win. You need to be in a stream that is flowing toward where you want to go.
Compounding is hard enough on your own. Don't let your environment subtract from your effort. So we've covered the math of the invisible curve, the physics of the locomotive, the formula for luck, and the tactics for killing the shit snowball. It feels like a lot, but also, it feels surprisingly simple.
That's the beauty of it. It is simple. But remember, simple isn't easy. It requires patience. It requires faith in the math when the mirror hasn't changed yet.
There is a final thought in the source material that I think is the perfect way to wrap this up. It says, focus on what you are adding to your life, not what you are taking away.
I love that framing. Psychology tells us that deprivation is hard to sustain. If you walk around saying, I can't eat this, I can't buy that, you just feel poor and restricted. You will eventually rebel against yourself.
But if you flip it,
I am adding energy. I am adding financial freedom. I am adding clarity. Now you're building something. You're feeding the positive snowball. You focus on the asset, not the cost.
So here is our challenge to you, the listener. We talked about the 125 calories. We talked about the ripple effect. What is the one small thing, the 125 calorie equivalent, that you can ADD to your life today?
Maybe it's drinking one extra glass of water. Maybe it's reading 2 pages of a book. Maybe it's transferring $5 to a savings account.
Whatever it is, do it today and then do it again tomorrow. And don't worry if you don't see the results next week.
Trust the math. The curve is coming.
Start your snowball. Thanks for diving in with us.
See you next time.